we'll start by talking about kind of where we've seen in the first 6 months. First, the crazy, embarrassing picture of me. But what are we seeing, and what have we seen in the first 6 months of this year? As Mel mentioned, we're hoping to do these quarterly so that we'll follow up each quarter. So this one's going to kind of look at what the first 6 months of the year told us. Go ahead, Mel. First and foremost, we have seen a total of a 24% increase in our sales over last year, including ClassicMODUL. Rentals have also increased 20%. The total number of, or what those new sales look like, I'll go into a little bit more, and we'll talk about a little bit more when we look at the different designs moving forward. Sorry, we're having a little bit of difficulty here. Probably within trends specifically, though, the things we want to focus on is the first couple slides being, we've seen a lot more flexible budgets, a lot more customization in what people are asking for. Flexible budgets being, since 2008, 2009, and 2010, we certainly saw a lot of folks that have that we're working with, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 budgets on 10x10s, for example, and we've seen those trend up to where people are freeing up a little bit more in the range of $8,000, $9,000, and that just multiplies by the footprint of the exhibit. Definitely more customized options, having while we are selling a lot of Sacagaweas and P10s and Segway inline units. We're also doing more customized exhibits, as you're seeing on the screen here, which are actually really totally custom built. There's some integration of some extrusion, but also this is just total custom traditional build with that we stained on. We're also seeing a lot more in the retail projects for. These actually happen to be for Nike, but three-dimensional letter cutting, doing custom module framework to integrate the mannequins, as you saw in the very first slide, storefronts. One of the things I do like to highlight here is are we a company that's seen a lot of work in doing, say 2,000 or 3,000 shelves for an IKEA or for an Eddie Bauer? No, and it's not necessarily the best fit. We do a fair amount of prototyping. We do a fair amount of your 2 to 300 quantity projects, but we work well with projects that are for certainly national brands, but that maybe have the kind of 25 to 50 store locations, and they want something a little bit more customized. This is actually a unique product that you'll be hearing about a little bit more. Probably not so much in this call, but definitely in August. These are some cell charging stations that we've worked closely with one of our distributors who's done a great job in helping develop this product line and coming up with the technology side of it in particular. And these will be part of Jim's rental properties coming up soon in August. You'll see them in there. So we're finalizing the pricing right now, and then there'll be an e-broadcast that comes out about them. We're seeing a call for the cell charging stations quite a bit in different designs where, and in these particular, there's touchscreen monitors that can either run a static presentation, or for a little bit extra money in programming, they can actually be touchscreens that people can interact with, or they can be backlit light boxes. Go ahead. The next one is also a small retail kiosk, very, very custom. This is all extrusion based. with Tension Fabric Graphics, and these went into a local company here called Bob's Red Mill, but most of you may know. Actually, if you've ever visited us, it's our favorite place to take people to lunch, but they are a national brand of natural oats and grains that you'll find in your local grocers. All right. The next trend that we are seeing has to do with utilizing large monitors, whether it's on islands. The monitors seem to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Where obviously 3, 4, 5 years ago, 42-inch monitors were kind of the biggest, and then they kind of crept into 50 or to 47-inch monitors, and now we're seeing even on that last image. This first one with WatchGuard, we're seeing that I believe was like close to an 80-inch monitor. In the LCD and LED monitors, we're seeing them get bigger and bigger and bigger, and utilizing multiple monitors. Go ahead, Mel. The next few images just show. Some of them don't actually have the monitors on there, but show the ability to integrate the monitors not just on a upright post, but actually anywhere on the exhibit, on freestanding kiosks. And I've got a block in here, but above, this is a pretty standard, almost like the iPhone booth, but a monitor up on the top left. Go ahead. And then a freestanding kiosk. That's actually a touch screen that goes down below. You'll be getting some information from us, I think, as well later in the summer about a new product that we're working on and trying to integrate maybe a little bit more into the trade show arena that is similar to this as well, where you have a touch screen monitor down below that allows you to interact with the screen that is above, and what you're doing down below is actually showing to your audience up above. Go ahead. Probably the most popular trend over the last couple years, really, but certainly in the first 6 months of this year, has been the integration of SCG graphics, be it in tabletops, inlines, or islands, backlit, SCG. We've utilized it even in a lot of the retail work that we have done. 10 by 10 kits, as we're showing on the screen right now. Our ability, really, if you look at this particular unit, to bend it has really set us apart. We are still, to the best of our knowledge, the only company out there that is doing the CNC bending in both directions, quite frankly, both on the easy edge as well as on the hard edge of some of our profiles, as evidenced here in this inline. On the uprights, those are all bent, as well as the back wall, actually. This is a unique SCG application on a 10 by 20, where you've got your static, if you will, back wall in the center, but then those are freestanding light boxes on the left and on the right. And of course, those of you who are at Exhibitor Show saw a great representation of what we do in custom bending of the SCG and utilizing the graphics up top. Go ahead. The next thing we'll talk about as far as the trend goes as well, before we get into the people, and you'll hear more about this from Jim and his portion, but the rental growth as well as larger properties. We'll touch on both of these actually once we get into rentals and we talk about products and designs moving forward, but we are definitely seeing a lot more islands, both on the purchase side as well as on the rental side. The next segment we're going to talk about is people, some changes internally as it relates to the folks here at Classic. Many of you have seen these in the e-broadcast, I'm sure, but just to quickly review, we hired our new Western Regional Manager. Her name is Jen LaBruza. Many of you may know Jen from working with her in the past. She's been in this business for some time on a few different levels, so we are very excited to have her. She is going to be handling the western states and helping with some of the Midwest as well. So a lot of you, I believe, have already heard from her. And, it's nothing like starting a job and going right on vacation, but that's what she did. So she'll be back about the end of next week, I believe it is, and or the first week of August, and we'll be hitting the road. So many of you will be seeing her face-to-face, especially those of you in the western states. Katina Regal, who is working in our design department, working with Mike Swartout, which all of you know. Katina has proven to be an extraordinarily valuable member of our team already. So many of the designs you've seen in Design Monday have been Katina's designs, and she just has really brought a nice, different, fresh in some ways, flavor to our design offerings. Jeff Garrett, who some of you may have dealt with a little bit in the past, but Jeff has been leading the setup instructions department of our project management staff. He and Pavel have been solely responsible for producing those on a daily basis, and Jeff is actually moving into more of a traditional project management role. So you'll be hearing a lot more from him. He will be handling many of your projects day in and day out, along with our other great project managers that you already work with. And to replace Jeff, we actually have hired Cynthia, and Cynthia is just starting and in training right now, so you'll be hearing more about her soon. Last but certainly not least is Tony Bennett. Tony has long been our contract web designer, web developer, and has worked very closely with Mel and is due a lot of the credit for the success of Exhibit Design Search, along with Mel, of course. We have brought Tony aboard, and he is now a Classic employee and is leading the way in our new Classic Exhibits web development department, primarily handling all of the Exhibit Design Search development out there, any of the tweaks to the site, our site most certainly, but Tony is always available if you ever are needing him to do even some work that's not Exhibit Design Search related, but work to your website. If you like what he has done on our site and on some of the others, please do reach out to him. We are extremely happy and very proud to have Tony aboard. We have in our shop, we have added 10 new employees in our shop across the different departments to handle the workflow. We have, as we said, we've been very busy the first 6 months of this year, and while July is a typical July, and I'll leave it at that, we are prepping for what August, September, October, and the first bit of November always bring. And we'll be instituting our second shift again. So not only with new employees on the shop, but we are going to have a second shift that starts the first full week of August, maybe not till August 15th, but probably the first full week of August. And that shift is actually going to be focused primarily on metal fabrication as well as setup. A lot of that is just prepping for the next day's work and finalizing things to get them up front for the next day's work. So we're very excited about that. Ecosystems, as you know, Classic is a financial partner in, or you may not know, Classic is a financial partner in Ecosystems. The Ecosystems production happens here at the Classic Exhibits facility, and their project management happens here as well. Ecosystems continues to grow greatly and really lead by leading in design and leading in sustainable design. So they are doing great. They have seen a very large growth as well in the first half of this year, and you're going to be seeing some pretty exciting things coming up from in Eric's marketing over the next couple months.
All right. Within products and designs, we're going to talk about, first of all, the iPad kiosk. You've seen a lot of the marketing that's come out about these iPad kiosks, and I want to thank everyone out there for the success of these already. These are really, really kind of leaving our dock door at a rapid pace every single day. You guys have accepted those. And that price point seems to be a price point that is one that hits the sweet spot. There's a lot of iPod kiosks that are out there that are in the $800 to $900 range. This one at $495 appears to be where most of your clients want to be, especially one that has integrated wire management. and is obviously an attractive and a durable unit. This is one of the other iPad kiosks that we have been selling for about 6 months. That one has done very well with the keyboard counter. You're going to see a bigger emphasis on us on those iPad kiosks. And in fact, there's 2 new designs, top secret, 2 new designs you're going to see in about 2 weeks that we're in the final stages of R&D. Actually, the R&D is complete, but we're doing some prototypes of them just so we can take some photographs of them and finish some renderings on them. You guys will be really, really excited about the look of these. It's a more of an extrusion type look of an iPad that has probably the best feature on it is that it has a rotating head for it so that it can go on either portrait or landscape simply by turning it without the need of any tools on there. From there is we're going to talk, both Kevin and I are going to talk about the trends that we're seeing, certainly in islands. Kevin has talked about it a little bit more. From us, you're going to see a lot more island designs. In fact, you have over the last couple months within Design Monday and on the website, a lot. As we kind of come out of the recession, we're into the recovery state, what we're seeing is a lot more quotes, a lot more requests for islands, and we respond to that by trying to stay ahead of the curve, by doing a lot of new designs within Design Monday, and then also looking at the designs that are coming our direction and then kind of reformatting them for you.
Okay. Some of the different designs that you've seen recently in Design Monday are what Mel is showing you right now. Most of these do highlight the use of SEG graphics.
A lot of curves, obviously. You're definitely seeing a request for rectilinear exhibits. Those are the requests. Those are the ones that we're seeing that are selling. This is a great example of one that really the islands that we're being requested is high. They want ones that are tall, that use minimal floor space, but at the same time have all the bells and whistles and all the accessories that a traditional island has, but they want more room, more ability to for the clients to navigate it and just see the graphics from far.
And this is a great example of a booth that was initially more of a custom design, as is evidenced by what looks like a wood grain on the left-hand side of the tower and some of those other spots, but was easily converted into more of a system design utilizing the sort of a modified, if you will, TSP profile that we utilize to do large SCG graphics. This is one of the most recent that just came out, those on the left-hand side there. Those can be internally lit corner units. This has to do with workstation. Utilizing them here as workstations, where a lot of people are moving them out to the corners and creating, 10-foot wide, even 16-foot tall, large SEG corner walls to finish off an island booth. Another example. Go ahead. Go through. These are some of the next two are two that came out when we really started seeing the increase early in the year from the island displays. And these came from one of our contract designers, Eric, and he did a fantastic job on these, in integrating our capabilities to bend on some of the accent piece, make unique bases where you're seeing on the workstations. Those are finished laminated pieces there. Next one. And the next one, which is heavy in SEG graphics on the center tower, custom cabinetry built into the interior. And again, all this based off of the ClassicMODUL profiles. Go ahead. The next one is I'll let Mel chime in after I've done this. So, the iPad, or I should say the iPhone booth, has become somewhat iconic for us, and was one of our, and has been one of our most popular selling visionary design hybrids, both as a 10x10 as a 10x20. This is the iPad booth, and there's a 10x10 and 10x20 of this as well. And much like the iPad is I guess in this way, it's actually different, so that doesn't work. But it's a thinner version, if you will, of the iPhone booth. The upright profiles, we've gone from the standard 3 to 4 inch profiles down to the 2-inch profiles. Probably most importantly is, to me at the end, is this packs down in 3 cases as opposed to 5, which is what the original iPhone booth does. So it's a nice option, just structural, looks a little skinnier, if you will, based upon the profiles that we're using. But again, same graphic process, a lot of the same horizontal profiles. It's just your vertical profiles that have been skinnied up and allowed us to create a lighter weight option.
Actually, internally, we refer to this as the Jenny Craig version of the iPhone. All right, so you can see those because we've had a fair number of requests to take the iPhone and make it into a more portable unit, because the iPhone would not traditionally. It could go in portable cases, but it fit better into crates. But this is clearly, these two you've just seen are intended to fit within the LT550 cases. You'll also notice on the counters out there that there is the iPad counter insert on both of those. That has also been a very popular accessory item for us over the last year or so, as iPads have continued to be gaining dominance within the trade show market. Here recently, we re-looked at the prices of the Aero tabletops. The Aero tabletops are kind of like the canary in the coal mine for us when it comes to the economy. When the economy is doing really well, the Aero tabletops, because of the price point, sell extraordinarily well. It's something that is unique to Classic Exhibits. They're shapes that no one else does. They tend to be a little bit more expensive than other tabletops, but when the economy is doing better, we sell lots and lots of these. What Kevin did is he re-looked at the pricing here recently, and we lowered the prices of most of the Aero tabletops, some just a little bit, others significantly, in order, we're doing very well on them now, but we wanted to kind of spark some more sales. And part of that had to do is we changed the packaging on how that ships. Those will now pack in a wheeled case. Before it was a shoulder strap, but now it's a wheeled case, and I apologize for that photograph. It's not the most attractive photograph of one of our guys out in the shop, but you can see it has straps and wheels, and then that particular case will ship within a corrugated box, but it's far more portable than it was previously.
With this case, real fast, if I throw in one thing, this case is actually a very viable option as well for many of your standard Aero overhead structures now as well.
And if you bought the basic version of the Segway Sunrise, that 10 by 10 SEG, the basic version of the Segway Sunrise also packs in this case as well. So someone can have a 10 by 10 in a very, very, very portable case.
Okay, getting back to the growth of SEGs, or SEG graphics. Last year at EDPA, we showed this booth for the very first time, and it was really to highlight not only the trend that we were seeing toward the continuing growth trend of SEG graphics, but also our ability to bend and create unique custom shapes. I have to say that this particular booth has now, actually thinking about the call list, there's 3 of you on the call list that have actually used this this booth already for your own open houses and or events as well. But this has been used a total of 5 or 6 times at distributor events since EDPA, and that guitar booth on the left. So if you've got any events coming up and you're looking for something unique to show off, we'd be happy if it's available. We'd be happy to make that available for you for your event. It's LED internally lit, and it really just shows off the best of what we do from a metal standpoint, quite frankly, and also the best of what Optima does from a custom fitting of SEG graphics. Basic tower, we actually saw the real picture of this earlier, but again, all those towers, main tower as well as the workstation towers, all SEG graphics. Some of the new kits that we're working on, these as well traditionally would be custom built and laminated, put in big, heavy crates in large pieces. This is something that we've actually developed that we can put SEG graphics on and build with an internal extrusion structure. This is the new TSP-70 extrusion. You haven't necessarily seen a lot about this yet. You will more and more. Our TSP-50 is our standard 4-inch, if you will. This is a bit narrower than that, but it's not so small. It's not as small as the Segway profile, which is only a couple inches in depth. This is right in between, and it is the easiest way to show. It's a wonderful extrusion for us because we can use it in so many different ways. We can make supportive bases for counters. As you can see, we can bend it, which is the key. But we can use it for supportive bases. We can use it for towers even. You can use it for inlines and put connection slots on the side of it and really customize this. So you'll be seeing more and more of the TSP-70 coming up, not only from Tom at ClassicMODUL, but you'll actually see a lot of it in the Classics designs, as evidenced by the next one that Mel's going to show you, which is designed using that profile specifically.
Okay. All right, and the last topic within products and designs is for those of you who have Exhibit Design Search on your site, in probably about 60 days, I would say no more than 60 days, there's going to be a slight modification or slight redesign of EDS on the design detail pages. This is kind of the first draft that's gone through. What we're trying to do, as we have developed Exhibit Design Search over the years and added more and more features, we've added those features kind of, the best way to think of it, we've added those on one layer. What we're doing is we're looking at all the features, we're prioritizing those features that are on the design detail pages, and we're going to start layering them so that it provides more white space. It's a more logical kind of review of that product, so the person's seeing the images, they're seeing the design details, they're seeing the additional images that are close up to it. The price, really what the thing that they want to see first is going to be on that first level. Then beyond that, and the call to actions will be on that first level too, contact me with more information, send a design request, those kind of things. Then on the next two levels, there'll be information that really the client can ask for, you can ask for, and part of it can be setup instructions, seeing the setup instructions, seeing the graphic dims, all things that are kind of secondary choices for it. It's going to be a much cleaner design. We're really, really excited about this. Once we introduce it, it will simply, as with all Exhibit Design Search changes that we make, it will simply ripple across your sites. One day you'll open up Exhibit Design Search and you'll see that there are changes. Obviously we'll send out an email before it, but you'll see all these great changes at no cost to you. All right, the next topic is rental trends, and Jim Shellman is going to talk to you about those.
Hi, everybody. As Kevin mentioned, we're continuing to experience a lot of substantial growth in the rental department. In terms of trends, we're seeing a lot more islands, just like they are on the purchase side. And we're also seeing a lot of double decks, a lot more double decks over the last 6 months to a year. And we've decided to keep one of our decks in Las Vegas, which has helped a lot in saving in shipping costs and the availability of that deck in Vegas. So keep that in mind if you have any potential deck rentals in the future. Most of our larger rentals, our island exhibits, include some type of customization, whether it's custom workstations, shelves, kiosks, curved extrusion components, pendant lights, or whatever the case may be. The other thing that we're doing is getting into some TSP frame so that we can offer SEG graphics for a lot of our inline back walls and even some of our island exhibits. As we add these custom components, obviously it's a great benefit for you for future rentals. We have them in our inventory and continue to use them. Now I'll go through a few images just to show you some of the recent projects that we've been working on.
Did you back up?
Yes. Okay. This is a great example of purchase and rental combination, which we do a lot of. So don't ever hesitate to contact us if you have some missing components and you just want to add to a purchase by renting and saving some costs by doing it that way. On this rental, we used our medium deck with an enclosed conference room and a storage closet. And on the purchase side, they're very large tension fabric graphic structure and custom kiosks, custom reception counter, and a few other TSP back walls. The next one. Oh, and this just shows another angle of the custom kiosks and the reception counter. Barricode is a 20 by 20 exhibit that used large format graphics, an extrusion grid ceiling, pendant lighting, and custom flooring. They also had custom tables, counters there for their to use as workstations.
I just want to add, Jim, if I can, this is a good example on a lot of the ones you're seeing. Remember we talked about the island, at least the purchase island, that they're opening up the floor space, things are going taller, they're having kind of large graphics, but no fewer bells and whistles, the accessories. This is a really good example of someone that has workstations, large graphics, reception, but they've completely opened up the floor plan for the island.
And they have the height that most people want with island. Conformist is a 30 by 50 exhibit, and this is a great example of using a lot of custom components, custom rental components. This is our largest deck configuration. It had a conference area upstairs. This is showing staircase, which for this project, we added these angled walls to hide the area underneath the stairs, which created more storage for the client. There's two walls, one on each side, that are tied together, so they're real tight, and it gives them a graphic area plus creates more storage. This is a new item that we've added. It's a 15-foot tall graphic tower, double-sided graphic tower that will be on our rental gallery coming up in the next week or so. Has kind of a custom extrusion canopy with can lights and then a laminated finished base. This is a Delco Remy 20 by 50 exhibit. It's another example of a hybrid rental using extrusion, large tension fabric graphics, custom kiosks, and display cases. Curved bridge header is an arrow frame structure with a pillowcase graphic. And that's a conference room. We used a lot of curved extrusion on this, which we do on a lot of our rentals and a lot of the conference rooms that we do. And this is a simple 20 by 20 that we just added to our rental gallery. It's low cost for people that just don't have the budget, but they still want to make a splash in a 20 by 20 exhibit. It's got a 10-foot tower with a locking door for storage, large monitor mount, three kiosks, workstations, and a reception desk. And I wanted to just mention that, to remind you that we do have the rental gallery on the main Classic website, and this gallery does not have any pricing, but we also have another gallery in the distributor login section that has wholesale pricing. So just log in and then click on wholesale gallery, wholesale rental gallery, and you'll see all the wholesale prices.
And those wholesale prices are wholesale prices for the structure only, not the graphics.
Right.
I know that part of what Jim showed in these images is mostly islands, and a large part of that is because a lot of the growth within the rental department has been islands, but he does a lot of inlines as well. And it used to be about 50-50 inlines to islands. It's probably closer to what percentage now, Jim?
Oh, I'd say that now it's at least 65.
65, 35 islands,
yeah.
Inlines? All right. All right. Okay.
All right. ClassicMODUL, a few things to
update with ClassicMODUL. First and foremost, exciting news coming between now and we'll say August 15th. It'll be before then, but between now and August 15th, we will be announcing our third ClassicMODUL depot opening. I'll just tease this a little bit by saying this will be every bit as good as the other two depots, the one being in Hartford and one being in Birmingham, but a bit on steroids from a standpoint that it'll have more production capability, and I guess the biggest tease I'll say is it'll have CNC bending capability. So the part that we're the most excited about there is obviously we can do our full production here and CNC bending here. This really gives us this new location will be giving us the option for fulfilling a lot of those orders for ClassicMODUL east of the Mississippi in particular, and in the Midwest a lot faster, a lot more cost-effective from a shipping standpoint, and the full order. It'll be not only your straight pieces and your pre-cut pieces ready to assemble, but also your bent pieces with many of the profiles. So we're very, very excited about that. The other piece of news about ClassicMODUL, as if you've seen the e-blast about this, many of the profiles within the ClassicMODUL offering have had price changes, and fortunately, many of those prices have actually adjusted downward, which has been nice. So if you haven't given it a try for a while or given a comparative look to it, keep in mind that depending on where you are in the country, shipping really is not an issue anymore as far as having to worry about it shipping all the way from the West Coast. You've got different locations that it can ship out of, number one, to help save you on shipping costs, but also but also you can the cost of the extrusion has actually come down too. Sorry.
All right. And this just some more images from ClassicMODUL. All right. Shared Knowledge University. In June, good job, Kevin. In June, we had our SKU training at the building here, a 2-day training, and it went extraordinarily well. We had I think about 22, 23 people here. We got glowing remarks based on the training. Part of it was classroom, part of it was in our facility, working with the products, disassembling, assembling them. Really, it was a comprehensive, very, very comprehensive training. Our next training session for SKU is September 24th and 25th. That's a Monday and Tuesday, and I'll let Kevin provide some of the details as far as registering for it and what your responsibilities are and what our responsibilities are.
There's definitely seats available. They do, based upon how it went last time, they do fill up fairly fast. So please email Mel and or myself directly as soon as possible with your interest, and we can get you the details. I know a few of you already have. Really what we need at this point is to know that you are interested in coming, so send us your name, and then if you, depending on where in the country you're coming from, whether or not you want to come in on Saturday or Sunday. I know some people are already showing an interest in coming in on Saturday to have more of a full day on Sunday to tour around and see the Portland area. So that is fine as well. I just need to reserve finalize the block of room reservations here in the next couple of weeks to get an accurate count for those of you who want to come in on Saturday. And then some people will have you can fly out on Tuesday night if you would rather not stay through Wednesday. Otherwise, most people last time stayed through Wednesday. It went so well the last go around that we're going to be building off of that experience and not changing a whole lot. It was a great balance of in production time as well as in classroom time, and and in entertainment time. So we promise you to see a few unique places here in the Portland area. I don't know if they'll be the same as last time or not. The only thing I would say is, have those of you who are coming have a little bit of pity on us, because there are at least 4 of us who are presenting on Monday to you all, who will have just ridden our bikes in a charity ride somewhere between 50 and 100 miles. So planning was not necessarily great, but we're looking forward to seeing you all. So please get to us as soon as you can.
All right, just so you know what your responsibilities are, you're responsible for your airfare, and that is really it. Beyond that, we cover the hotel reservation and all the food while you're here on those days, on the Monday and the Tuesday. If you're here on Sunday, we'll be happy to go out to dinner with you as well. As Kevin said, it's a great experience. We've got great feedback, and we're looking forward to having as many of you as possible. But we do encourage you to sign up as quickly as possible, because those seats fill up fast. All right. Next. This is really the last topic we're going to cover, and we're just going to kind of breeze over this kind of quickly. Obviously, you see this gentleman riding on the hood of the car while the car is running. And this really is a conversation about what's going on in the market, our competitors, and kind of what we're getting a sense of. And I guess from a very general term I guess I want to reinforce what our model is, and because we're getting a sense that many of our competitors are not following that model anymore. And our model is obviously that we work with distributors. We only work with distributors. We do not sell direct. But we're getting a sense that some of our distributors have decided to change their model. And I think this graphic is a good indication of the path we feel like they're headed with that.
I would just say, add to that. I was recently in Chicago for an event, and I was asked straight out, at what point are you going to go in the direction of your competitors, whether it be, both feet in it once, or just dip your toe in it, and we are not. Those of you who've been with us for a long time know that we push a motto of shared success, and our success is through our distributors. We do not ever plan on changing that model at all.
All right, we're at the end of the presentation portion of it. We do have some questions. People have asked us some questions in the question panels. Please, if you have questions on anything that we covered today, kind of write those questions in that panel, or, although it doesn't always work very well, raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, I'll try to turn on your audio. I can't always tell you that's going to work. But let me start off by answering, or at least reading one of the questions that came from the question panel. And this is from Jacob. It says, in regards to the rental wholesale pricing, and this is one for you, Jim, and you can explain why we do it the way we do, will you be adding the cost of graphics to that page? It would be a lot more helpful if you did so that the prices are all in the same location.
Actually, Jacob, with our rental side of things, we have found that it's difficult to be competitive, for you to be competitive, if we do your graphics and have to mark those up. So what I do is give you the detailed information on the sizes, the application, the materials, and then have you work with your vendor directly. And that's actually just so that you guys can be more competitive when you're out there competing for your jobs. But I'll guide you through it. We'll give you exact dimensions, whether it's fabric, Centra infills, or whatever. We have a local vendor, too, here that we can connect you with that does direct-to-Centra printing for larger island exhibits and so forth. And you'll get the same wholesale pricing from them that we would get. So it typically works out well. And on that note, we actually stage everything here. So even if you get your graphics printed someplace else, we would have you ship them here, especially the fabric ones, and so that we can fit them and stage them and take photographs for you before the rental ships out.
And I want to add, those of you who haven't taken advantage of this, when it comes to Peekabooth, I think you guys, those of you who have used Peekabooth before, we have 3 webcams that are in the purchase setup area out there. And then we've also added 2 webcams within the rental area down there. So that when you have rental jobs and you want to preview those rental jobs without having to fly to Portland, your client having to fly to Portland, those webcams are available for your use. We've got a couple more questions. The next one is from Michael. Michael says, are there new options coming on literature racks that attach to the extrusion? We are hoping for ones that can hold 9 by 12. What's funny is Kevin was just talking about that about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and some of the options and the directions that we're going. Okay.
We are, Michael, looking at creating a few different options for doing exactly what you're looking at. So any suggestions that you may have, or if there's anything in particular that you may be looking for, go ahead and forward it directly to me. But currently we're looking at a couple different things. One, which is being able to do custom CNC options with the aluminum, just like the ones that we have right now, the aluminum lit racks, but create our own, some different sizes and utilizing our own CNC for doing those, as well as our some wood options that can be custom laminated or painted, but all of which would work just like our existing ones and be able to be moved all around either an island exhibit and inline and just lock into the different channels. But good timing on your question, because it is something that we've got on our product development list currently.
All right, we've got 2 more questions, Jim, for rentals. The first one is, for the rentals, it would be helpful, and this is from Laura, it would be helpful, too, if the graphic DIMs were more readily available, like on the design search. Is that a possibility?
Hi, Laura. Yes, it's definitely a possibility. It's just something that we need to catch up with, to be honest with you, catch up on. We need to add dimensions to the kits or the designs in the gallery that do not have them. And the other thing we're planning to do is add freight estimates so that you guys can calculate your shipping charges for the designs that are on the rental gallery.
And Jacob had a very similar question. Says, can you add the graphic templates to the rental pages with pricing? We can then easily figure out the pricing on our end, or at least the graphic templates, yes.
The dimensions, for sure. The trouble with templates for the rental designs is that there's different applications. Some people like to have, the graphics attached different ways. I guess one way we could handle that is to give you, a couple of different options and provide templates for those different options. So that's a good point.
There's another question from Danielle. Danielle, regarding the EDPA exhibit booth. Let's touch base offline about that, but just so you know, those dates look fine. So I'm gonna put Mel on the spot a little bit. Mel manages the marketing inventory of those booths, but I do know that right now it's not committed for that time frame.
It's not, and it is actually in-house. It just arrived 2 days ago, so it's here. All right. The next question is from Michael. It says, the portable case that you showed for the Aero tabletops, would that case fit the iPod kiosk? Unfortunately,
great question.
A great question. Unfortunately, it does not fit that particular iPad kiosk, the MOD 1312 ones. It doesn't fit within that Aero tabletop. You're looking at me puzzled.
I'm going to take Mel's word for it and go double check it.
Okay. I don't think it does. I think,
It's a good question, and I think he's right. I don't believe it does. I think the base causes the problem, but the base comes in 2 pieces. So let me double check it, and Michael, I'll let you know for sure. And if it does fit, then you'll likely see something sent out about that rather quickly, because that's a great question.
It is, but I don't believe it's the width of it. It's the length. Is that the iPad kiosk is too long for that particular case.
Gotcha.
All right. Are there any other questions out there? We're approaching. We've got about 9 minutes left. We had planned for this. Any other questions that we can answer for you? And we'll take just another couple minutes here. Yep. Here's one from Jacob. Have you seen any impact from China knockoffs of hybrids?
Jacob, I'll take that. The most vulnerable product we would have had, or that we would have as it relates to that question, is probably Sacagawea. currently, and Sacagawea was as far as inlines go in particular, and actually if we looked at our entire product line, it was the #1 selling product that we had in all of last year, as well as the first 3 months of this year from just inline specifically. So no, that doesn't mean that we won't, but I think there's enough uniqueness in what you all bring to the table in your requests to us that the China products can't do. So yes, it may be a simple-looking kit, but some of the requests that you have or things that you're asking us to do to them, they can't be done overseas by a bulk manufacturer. So we haven't really seen the effects of that yet.
And really the three things that on Sacagawea that we aren't seeing replicated, and Jacob, you could certainly dispute this because you've seen probably more of those than we have, is that here, these are the three. One has to do with the knob-assisted assembly. We aren't seeing that in the China knockoffs. Those are still all hex key assembly. The second has to do with the die-cut foam packaging and the individual numbering of all the pieces, so it's much easier to assemble and pack and unpack.
That is a huge separator between us and the Chinese products.
And the last has to do with the curved pieces in the Sacagawea. That one of the differentiating factors is whether it's the workstation counter supports that are curved or the headers that are curved. We aren't seeing that kind of curved metal coming from China. We're seeing basic kits that are probably 1/3 to half the price of what we're doing, but it comes down to, just like on pop-ups, you know, some people have X amount to spend, other people have more to spend, and I will give your organization an enormous amount of credit, Jacob, in that you guys are asking people for budgets and you're steering them into products that are the most appropriate product for their budget and for their use, and making it clear to them that this is a product that will do just this, but if you want a product that will do this and that much more, this is what you need. All right.
So a question there from Chuck, and it's really geared more towards Jim. I'm going to add a quick note before Jim answers it, but the question is, are you seeing more custom design requests for rental as opposed to pre-designs that are shown off in the EDS? From the standpoint that people are sending in requests to our projects email for rentals as well, oftentimes, and then those are getting forwarded on to Jim to handle. I definitely, or we're seeing, you know, combos that Jim referred to before, which is, you know, the client's really looking forward to or looking for, you know, acquiring and purchasing these elements, but renting these elements, and those are by far more custom than kit oriented.
Right. Yeah, definitely. We do get a lot of requests. It helps if you have something that we can reference. A lot of times people send a rendering or photographs from your client's previous shows that they've done. We also ask that you maybe go through the rental gallery to get some ideas, just to generate some ideas so we have a starting point. But yes, we do get requests for a lot of requests for custom designs, and we'll work with you on ground-up design as well.
Lance has the next question. Do you have any technical drawings of the iPad kiosks available? Thank you for the compliment following up that, but also wanting to know how the wires are hidden, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, and we have the setup drawings first, and then we're currently working on a video that will be uploaded very soon. So we do the final shoot for that, Lance, is on Friday afternoon, and as soon as that is done, it'll be uploaded as well, and it'll give you a little bit more information. But the setup instructions and pictures are currently on the site. I'll see if we can get some more details specific to the wiring. But when it is in portrait mode, as it's shown there, your wire for the iPad, your charging wire for the iPad actually drops right below where it plugs into the iPad. So there's a slot for it, and it goes all the way down and plugs in. So, but I will make sure that we clarify that a little bit more in the setups.
there is an animation with that product, a video animation that shows kind of roughly how it goes together. There's only 4 parts to it. 2 of the parts are the base. You have the main stand and then the clamshell. And the base assembles with Phillips head screwdrivers, a Phillips head screwdriver, and the actual clamshell top. You know, I think we list, much to Kevin's chagrin, that you have to have pliers, but you don't have to have pliers. You can actually hand tighten those screws on the base itself, and it really assembles in probably 5 minutes at the most.
There's one other question regarding if we're ever going to expand into graphic production. You know, there's a couple things. Well, first thing is, you know, our dedication to shared success and only working through distributors is one thing we have always remained consistent with and will continue to remain consistent with. We've also always remained consistent about we are not a graphics manufacturer or provider, quite frankly, nor do we want to be. We're really, really good at building hardware and coming up with great solutions from a hardware standpoint. And it's one of the reasons why we have partnered with Optima so closely, is not only because many of you use Optima for your graphics, and so it just makes sense, but you know they're pros on the production side of graphics. So any talks of as part of the question, any talks of a potential Optima West? That is a question I couldn't certainly address. I could tell you that I dreamt about it last night, but that's really, you know, they're separate organizations, so they would have to answer that question.
All right. Do we have any more questions? I'm surprised that we did not get a question from you, Chris, or from you, David. Do you guys have any questions in the remaining 3 or 4 minutes that we have here? If not, and certainly, go ahead. Okay, Chris said everybody answered her questions. And thank you, David, for your comment. Thank you for everyone for participating. You're going to receive a survey here shortly after the end of this. It's just 4 questions. If you complete that survey, we'd appreciate it. This is really a test for us. We're going to continue with it as a quarterly series where we share information that we're seeing out there in the marketplace, new products, things that are happening obviously in the rental division and within Classic and what we're hearing from distributors. Really, it's that kind of town hall that we feel like is missing within the industry. And while we certainly blog and you get e-broadcasts from us, and you get Design Monday, we feel as if what was missing is that conversation between the two of us every quarter. Obviously, we talk to you guys on the phone all the time, but what we want to do is have that two-way conversation with you. And if this is helpful, or if there is some way that we can do the format differently that makes more sense for you, please let us know. We want this to be successful. It's all part of, our two core missions that we talk about all the time, and that's shared success and shared knowledge. Those are critical to how we operate and how we operate with you as our partners out there. All right. We do have one last question. On the case that ships the Aero tabletop, are the wheels protected for shipping, or is the case to be used for local transport only?
Chris, the case itself actually does have a corrugated carton, a heavy-duty corrugated carton that it ships in, and the handle sticks out of that so that you can actually still carry it around if you need to. But so when you're shipping it, you're not just shipping it exposed with the wheels exposed. They're actually inside a corrugated piece.
And we've even gone to the extra effort, Chris, so you know that printed on the box it says reusable shipping or reusable carton, do not destroy, because we want you and your client to use that particular carton again and again. And it's the heaviest duty carton that we've ever used for Classic, because we want you to use it, and so it will withstand multiple ships. All right. I think that's it. And again, thank you everyone for, how many times can be shipped? we're guessing here, probably, Chris, it depends on how far, but probably at least, I would say, at least 10 to 15 times at a minimum. It's a pretty heavy-duty corrugated box.
Very stout.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And on behalf of myself, Kevin, Jim, and Reid, who you didn't hear from, but Reid was out there, thank you very much for participating. And if you have any additional questions we didn't answer during the meeting, please send any of us an email, and we'll respond immediately.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot.